Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more.
In awe distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each a separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. From my books there ceases sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare radiant maiden that the angels named Lenore, nameless forevermore.
And the silken sad uncertain rustling of each purple curtain filled me with the fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, this it is and nothing more."
Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, when so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here, I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more."
Deep into that dark despairing, long I stood there, wondered, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal has dared to dream before. But the darkness remained unbroken, and the silence gave a token, and the only word thus spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I murmured, and the echo whispered back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more.
Back into my chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I hear a tapping, somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window else. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. Just the wind and nothing more.
Open here I flung the shutter, with many a flirt and flutter. In there stepped the stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a moment, stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched above a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more.
Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance of war. Though thy crest be short and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the nice Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Much I marveled, this ungainly fowl, to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot but help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing a bird above this chamber door, bird or beast upon sculptured bust above this chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore.
But the raven, sitting lonely upon that placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if its soul in that one word it did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore."
Started out of stillness, broken by reply. So reply spoken, doubtless said I. What it utters is only stocker's store, and store caught from some unhappy master who was certain full disaster. Followed fast and followed faster, till his song is a burden of bone. till the dirges of his hope from that mellow towny burden bar of never, never more.
But the raven, still beguiling, on my sad soul and smiling. Straight I wheeled, they couldn't see, in front of bird, bustin' door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to liking. Fancy unto fancy, this ominous bird of yore. What this grim, ghastly, gaunt, ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore.
Thus I sat, engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining, with the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloated o'er, she shall press, ah, nevermore.
Men met not the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer. Swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he has sent thee. Respite, respite this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore, quoth the raven, nevermore.
Prophet said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil. Whether tempter sent or the tempest tossed, thee here assures, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted. On this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore. Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Prophet said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by the heavens that bend above us, by the God we both adore. It shall press a sainted maiden, if laden, if within the distant Eden. It shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Be thou bold aside a pardon, bird of fiend, I shriek upstarted. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonian show. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Put the bust above my door. Take thy beat from out my heart and take thy foe from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
And the raven, never flitting, still a sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming, there's a shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted.
Nevermore.